this is Garrett McCouchy's Cummings. Today's game I'm going to review is the original Gran Turismo for the PlayStation 1. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So in 1998, when Polyphony and Sony released this game, it was groundbreaking in the world of racing games. With over 100 cars to choose from, over 10 tracks, and overall, a real driving simulator that kicked a whole lot of ass for its time. It's also the first in the series. I keep talking to a minimum for the intro. As you can see here, it's also back when they had racing modifications, real ones. So, let's begin. So here we have the start screen with arcade mode and simulation. I think I'll start out with arcade mode. So here we have the single race, time trial 2-player. Here we have bonus items, which you get from racing certain tracks on certain difficulties and with different classes of cars. So, normal. And this is back when Dodge had the Copperhead. I'm gonna go with this car. Try Deep Forest. So as you can see here, if you're a modern Gran Turismo fan, the tracks look a whole lot different. Back when they made their scenery look really vibrant and beautiful despite 32 and 64-bit graphics. And to be honest, the Dodge Copperhead, which is the concept car I'm driving, I wish Dodge had actually released it. That would have been pretty awesome. Anyway, onto the gameplay. First and foremost, you unlock more tracks. As you can see here, you unlock more cars. Each individual car having their own speed, acceleration, handling ratios, etc. Now into simulation mode, the real nitty-gritty of what is Gran Turismo. So here we have the city screen with all kinds of dealerships. Admittedly, nowhere near as much as the modern ones, but still a great deal back then. As well as the racing outlet, a license center, car wash, machine test, etc. In each of the dealerships, well, most of them anyway, they're split up with new cars and used ones. You can usually start out with a used car with the $10,000 they give you initially. Newer cars usually have higher price tag, but sometimes it's worth it if you want to get something like a Supra, a TVR, or an Impreza. And with races comes modifying your cars with exhaust, turbo, suspension, engine, braking, etc. Surprisingly, they even have weight deduction and racing modifications even. They don't amp up your car any, they just make it look badass. As you might imagine, it's pretty mandatory for certain tournaments and championships. You have special events with certain classes of cars ranging from nationality to drivetrain based championships, even lightweights. Now for GT League we have the flagship main events ranging from Sunday Cup to Clubman to GT Cup all the way to GT World Cup. Now for beginners, or if you just want to get an extra 1,000 or just practice in general, we have 5 spot races. Nothing fancy, just practice and 1,000 credits per victory. And for those who want to hone their skills, look no further than time trial. And they even have reversed courses. You can see here it's also back when they had special stage Route 11. Challenging, but all in all, a beauty. In fact, it's one of those tracks that I wish they would bring back one of these days. And last but not least, we also have Memory Card Battle. Now looking back, this isn't too fancy, but if you've still got a friend or two who's got Gran Turismo 1, give it a try. And one thing that the modern Gran Turismos lack is a qualifying lap determining what position you start out in, so it's not all last place all the time. And if you manage to get pole position, they give you a cash bonus. And if you win a championship, not only do you get a cash bonus, you also get a new car. Now said bonus car could either be something useless, or it just might be a secret weapon. And with the different championships there come the licenses that you must have in order to race them. And despite there only being 3 license classes, some of the tests, like this final one, they're actually pretty tough. Especially since the Viper has some pretty loose steering to begin with. Oh, and did I mention that there's a penalty for going off course? One thing I do like about Gran Turismo 1 that the others do not have is the whole dark and edgy feel that the menus create. And speaking of which, the soundtrack, racing and menu alike, they're unlike anything that I've seen before or since then. It's its own kind of music. Another cool thing I like about Gran Turismo 1 is that even back in 1998, they gave you a pretty cool looking track preview, a little mini movie for each track. Quality wise, as you can see here, it looks much like the intro of the game. This is also the only game that I remember seeing where you can save to either slot, because usually the second one just acts as one for the guest player. You can do stuff with that, which is pretty cool. Now my only complaints with this game is that you're unable to bring your cars from simulation mode into arcade mode, like they did in Gran Turismo 2 and beyond. Other than that, the only other complaint I have is the scarce number of tournaments to race in comparison to the sequels, but that just might be the limited amount of cars that they have in this game. I mean, after all, it was the first one. So overall, I think it's a pretty solid racing game. One of the greatest ever made, I might add. And what's surprising is that it was the best-selling game on the original PlayStation, with around 11 million copies sold worldwide. It's amazing what video games have turned to since then. Nowadays, everyone would go for Call of Duty or something like that. Anyway. Yeah. Very good racing game. It's awesome. This has been Garrett McOuchie's Cummings in another game review.